Okay, good evening, Vietnam.
Good evening,
Live from Northern Post. This is Veterans Live Show. I'm your host, Ronnie Embers. I served with the 101st Airborne Division from December 1967 to December 1968. On this episode of Veterans Live Show, we'll be talking NAM with our favorite Dustoff pilot, Phil Marshall. We'll be discussing questions and answers that were posted in the Vietnam Veterans Photo Club on Facebook. And don't forget that we'll be doing a live Q&A after the show. So write your questions and comment in the comment section below this video. All right, Phil, first question is right up your alley. All right, first question on the screen. If you could name Dustoff to something that really portrays the amazing job these men did, what would you nickname it? Wow. If you could nickname Dustoff to something that really portrays the amazing...
the call sign came about strictly by chance. The first Dustoff unit was told to pick a call sign, and the Navy had a list of call signs, and they said pick from here. And captain, I believe, by the name of Temporelli, saw the word Dustoff and said, "Well, that's kind of fitting to what we do." And so that was the call sign that he chose.
That's great.
6 months later. 6 months later, everybody was supposed to change their call sign to confuse the enemy. Wow, like we're going to confuse them. And temporarily, and Major Kelly said, "No, it's Dustoff. Everybody knows this is Dustoff." So that was how it came about. It was just purely by chance, and it stuck. And of course, they still use it today.
That's great, man. See that? There you go. I mean, Dustoff is different from medevac, right?
Yeah, Phil? Medevac was first cav.
But medevac is medevac. And
yeah, but well, anytime a helicopter rescued people, it was called a medevac. But First Cavalry Division, 15th Med went by medevac. Everybody else went by Dustoff.
Ah, really? There you go. That's some history. Very good. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Fred Andrews, Angels. Here's a nice comment. Angels with rotary wings. Amen to that. Thank you, Fred.
Yeah. We like to call it the sound of hope.
Sorry,
balls
Phil.
of steel.
Gregory Stump, you got balls of steel. And
hey, I'll tell you a little secret. Dustoff aircraft, we had 3 seats up front. We needed 1 seat in the middle just for our balls. Not really, but somebody told me they said we must have a 3rd seat up there.
All right. Ron Skulik says, the way it was told to me, Dustoff was named for a pilot named Dusty. When called on, nothing would stop him from getting to the wounded. He even made the LZ using the main rotor, whatever that means.
Yeah, sometimes you had to do that. Yeah, but
wow. Okay.
No, I'm 99%. Yeah, I'm 99% sure it was picked from the Navy code book.
There you go. Wow. All right, we're getting some down and dirty here. Okay, Mark Clemens, Dustoff is Dustoff. There's no other name. Yeah. So when something went down and you needed a helicopter for any reason, they would say send a Dustoff. That was it. We needed Dustoff.
Well, we were pretty much reserved just for medical missions. We had our onboard medic.
I got you.
Yeah, okay. The crew chief had a lot of on-the-job training from the medic. But of course, you got to remember, these were 18, 19, 20-year-old kids with 10 weeks of Army medical training at Fort Sam Houston in Texas. And these guys are out there saving lives. As pilots, we were just truck drivers. The guys in the back did all the dirty work. So our ambulance drivers, I guess you could say. But the guys in the back were the ones that did all the dirty work. They were giving mouth-to-mouth, popping IVs. They were the heroes. Absolutely.
Yeah, I hear you. I got two rides on that bird.
Yeah, and apparently it worked.
Yeah, they did.
Hey, real quick, I'll give you a number. In World War II, if you were seriously wounded, you only had a 40% chance of surviving because it could be days before you got proper medical treatment. With the Huey and our onboard medics and everything, we could have you in an OR within an hour of being wounded, 98% chance of surviving. with that helicopter and our onboard medic.
That's crazy.
98% chance of surviving.
That's the most spectacular, whatever you want to call it, in the whole world's history. The difference.
Yeah, and
You
of
know
course
what I'm saying?
they still use Dustoff today. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
What do you got? Another question, Matt? Sound off. How many of you listened to or sang "We Got to Get Out of This Place While in Country"? When did that come out? Because I don't know if I was in country. I think that came out in the 70s, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't remember hearing it in '69, but we didn't really listen to the radio that much when we were flying. We were pretty busy. We didn't. We called it boring holes in the sky. If you didn't really have anything to do, you just go out and fly around and maybe train the new guys or something. But yeah, as far as Dustoff was concerned, we didn't really listen to that much radio. We could, but we were too busy doing other stuff. So, too many radio calls. You got 3 or 4 radios in the aircraft.
Where were you stationed? Where were you based out of?
Northern I Corps. Far north. We were the northernmost Dustoff unit.
Really?
Yeah. We had everything from the DMZ down to Hueys, and from South China Sea to Laos, which I never went into Laos on October the 10th, about 9:30 or 10 o'clock at night.
I know you never did that. Amen. I know what you mean.
No, we never did that. No.
And I didn't inhale. Remember, Bill Clinton said I didn't inhale.
Oh yeah. How can I forget him?
Okay, 1965. We got to get out of this place. Very good.
It's a great song. It's a great song. Absolutely.
Yeah, it is. All right. Bob Quackenbush, our unit officers hated this song. We sang it every night before closing up the bar. Where were you at the where were you at the VFW post or the American Legion? You told them closing up the bar.
I went to school with a Bob Quackenbush. I wonder if that's the same guy.
There you go. You never know.
That's an unusual name.
Glenn Miracle. If I wasn't singing it, I was thinking it. Yeah. I gotta give you a few little tips on that later.
It's certainly our theme song.
Yep. I hadn't thought of it in years, but yep, we sure did, and a lot too. Phil, I gotta get this in because I would try to get it in all the time, forever and ever when I talk to somebody. If we conducted that war like we did bomb Berlin and Bremen, we could have bombed Hanoi and Haiphong. The war would have been over in a month. But due to the political
if you remember, the first George Bush promised when he was elected, he says we're not gonna fight a war with one hand tied behind our backs like we did in Vietnam.
Right.
So I remember George Bush the first saying that, and I thought, wow, this guy's got his stuff together. He knows what's going on. So
yeah,
of course he was a World War II pilot, but we did. We had one hand tied behind our back, and it was just poorly run. I mean, there's just no question about it.
Well, they were catering to the woke. Now it's woke crowd now. Back then, the hippies and whatnot were doing their long hair protests and saying stop the war in Vietnam, and yet the whole deal with that. Well, I'm not going to get into that, but if we fought a war
it's great that they can protest.
Okay,
it's great that you're allowed to protest, but
let's get into the next question about this show. Okay,
and unfortunately, we haven't learned yet.
Oh yeah, amen. Leopoldo Martinez, thank you, sir.
Nice hair.
Sound off. Did you ever ride as Huey in a storm? And did you notice anything different or just business as usual?
Go ahead, I'll let you answer first.
Me?
Okay.
No, I had clear weather.
Yeah,
every time I was on that thing, it was clear weather.
Well, if we had stormy weather like monsoons or hard rain or whatever, you would extend your landing light straight out with it on, and you would fly up the right side of a road so you could navigate. And it wouldn't be unusual to see another aircraft coming back the other way with their landing light on flying the right side of the road. but sometimes you needed to do that to navigate. And that was not unusual. If you were in heavy rain or whatever, just follow the road and stay to the right.
Phil, let me ask you a question. I'm going to ask you a question here. How many missions did you fly?
I've written it down in my diary. The only thing I can tell you is right off the top of my head, about 100 a month hours and about 100 a month patients picked up in combat, not transferring to hospitals or things like that, but about 100 hours of flying a month and about 100 patients picked up out of the jungle a month. Yeah, that was about average.
I'm finally trying to realize one thing. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that a typical day for us, one mission, you're taking off and landing 4 times, 4 landings, 4 takeoffs, and you might only be flying a half hour. So, like I say, we were pretty busy in the aircraft when we were flying because we didn't do that much. Like a gunship might go fly around for 2.5 hours, to cover somebody before they have to refuel and rearm. And that doesn't make us better than them. It's just different. Our missions were generally a very short trip.
Right. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. Mike Enfelt. Oh yeah, we got caught away from Phuc Vinh when the hurricane hit. The rain was like flying through a lake, and we had no doors on our slicks. The helicopter was every direction but upside down. I'm sure it was closed at whatever that means. Okay. You can relate to that?
Well, yeah, of course we would fly with the doors closed when it was raining if we needed to, but also it was a little bit dangerous to open and close the cargo doors while you're flying. They can fly off the aircraft and possibly damage the tail rotor. So you don't want to be opening and closing the doors if you're already in the air and it starts raining. Of course, the nice thing is Mike. If you're in the air, you can see the rain coming.
Thank you, Mike, for that question here or that statement. Thank you. Next. Okay, here's another one for you, Phil.
Okay.
So you were what other kind of missions did you fly? I mean, were you a gunship?
Well, like I say, we would have patient transfers. Okay. Like you needed to see an eye doctor, and the only eye doctor was out on the hospital ship, the Navy ship. We take a load of patients out, land at the ship, and then come back in an hour or so and pick everybody up. Or the ship, the Navy ship would call us and tell us that our patients were ready, or maybe somebody else would go out and pick them up later. They had nice PXs on the ship. So I've heard a rumor. I've heard a rumor that there's no alcohol allowed on the Navy ships, and sometimes people would use that information to trade for things. But that's just a rumor that I've heard.
I'm quite sure. It's only 50 years old, that rumor. All right, there we go. What? One Fred. Hey, Fred. That's my buddy Fred. We served together. Yes. Joseph B. Licata. Yes, just seemed to shake a lot. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, be a lot of turbulence.
Mike Gonfeld. Here we go. We got quite a while. Yeah, he just said this one before. I have a question to ask you. The beginning of Hamburger Hill movie. They're all coming in on helicopters with the song going on. Did you see the movie?
It's been a while.
Okay,
it's been a while. I think it's when it first came out, and that's it.
Yeah, the Doors were singing a song and coming in, and was that pretty authentic? The spacing and all that stuff.
I know the slicks, the troop transport Hueys, they would want to fly in a close formation to even where they had overlapping rotor blades.
Wow.
The tighter you are, the smaller a target you are. And those guys were so good. Those slick pilots were so good that they would fly with overlapping rotor blades. And the reason you do it in formation, if you do it one at a time, then the enemy can focus on that one aircraft. But when you all take off and land at the same time, then you're spreading out, excuse me, the enemy's targets. So they can't concentrate on one aircraft. So that's the reason you see all these tight formations, why they land together and take off together.
I would think it'd be the opposite. If you got 5 or 6 or 10 choppers up there in a little kind of a area, just shoot, you know, like, no, so it's the opposite.
Yeah, huh? But it's a big airspace. Well, but then see, we would fly at least, we would fly at least 1,500 feet above the ground when we were going to and from an LZ, because we felt that if you're 1,500 feet above the ground, a small arms fire probably not going to hit you.
Yeah, I got you.
But of course, you gotta go land, and you got to take off through that 1,500 feet.
Gotcha. That 1,500 feet reminds me of jump altitude. Yeah. Thank you. All right, what do you got next here? What was the Sandor? What was the c-ration that you wouldn't want to eat even if you had nothing else? You got c-rations, Phil?
Well, I hear people don't like ham and lima beans, but I didn't have any problem with it.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite.
I liked all the C-rats. Yeah, I liked all the C-rats, especially if you can warm them up.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if it still had some fat, you know what I mean, it would gel up. But even in the boonies out there.
Yeah.
All right, ham and lima beef, no contest. Amen. Thank you, Robert Hoffman.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Ham and lima,
like I say, certain warm, they're okay.
Thank you, Alex Lamar. We know what you called it, the M word. Thank you very much. Okay. I don't know why. Where'd that come from? But don't tell us. Gene Mortensen. I tried to avoid the scrambled eggs. I never had that one. Never had scrambled eggs.
I don't remember. I don't remember.
Either. All right.
Maybe I was avoiding them too.
Again. I did. I never went hungry, man. Leonardo Stuart Franco.
Yeah, everybody. Let's see. Everybody hates them. I don't know why.
I'm telling you, bro. I had my socks. We used to tie 2 jungle socks over our put our cans in here, tie them in a knot, throw them over our shoulder. I had so much stuff. It was like, oh my God.
Well,
next question.
See, Yeah, I was gonna say a lot of our crew chiefs had the big channel lock pliers, and they would hold the can, the sealed can, up to the exhaust of the Huey for a few seconds, and that would heat them up pretty good. The exhaust on the Huey is like the exhaust on a Huey is like 400 or 500 degrees centigrade. So it warms them up in a hurry.
American ingenuity, right? There you go.
There you go.
All right, next. How many of you guys have ever seen the Cobra in action? Cobra gunships, man, kicking ass.
Never. The 5 months that I flew in Vietnam, for those that don't know, the enemy had a different plan for me. I got to come home a little bit early. In the 5 months that I flew, I could count on one hand the number of times we had gun support. We didn't have time to wait for it. You're out there bleeding, we're coming to get you. We're not going to wait for guns.
Amen.
They happen to be in the area, great. Yeah, they have. Well, the night I was wounded, I had gun support. So, didn't do me a whole lot of good.
The three most important people in Vietnam: the helicopter pilot, the nurses, and the medics. Yeah. And the doctors.
Yeah.
Anybody,
for sure.
Whatever.
Because I don't know what the numbers were, but other aircraft were flying medevac missions all the time. More than once we would be going in final to an LZ to pick somebody up, and there comes a slick or a loach out with the guy. If they weren't critical, that's okay. It's no big deal. It doesn't upset us. But again, we've got the onboard medic that can keep you alive until we get you to the hospital. But yeah, the slicks and guns and loaches, they were doing medevac missions all the time. Absolutely. they would drop off supplies for you and take your wounded out.
Yes, correct. And the guys that are going home.
Yep.
All right, Bill Oliver. Many times you might be of two sharks circling prey in the water. Yeah, 101st Airborne Division, Bayshore Valley.
Yeah. Oh, I tell you what, those gun pilots, they were so accurate with those rockets and the miniguns. I mean, it's like from half a mile away, they're putting a rocket in a window. They're just guys were just amazing.
Yeah,
just amazing.
Let me tell you, that was a pretty valuable asset. The gunship. I mean, it was a helicopter war. So there you go. Okay, George,
but see,
had a snake for cover.
When
go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Phil.
I was just going to say, what's amazing how accurate those gun guys could be, especially the guys who are flying the Huey gunships, not the Cobras, but the Huey gunships. There was a sight that hung from the roof in front of the pilot, the roof of the aircraft in front of the pilot, with a lighted pipper that tells you, where you're targeting. Well, these guys, that target would get in your way, so they would just take the grease pen and put a little X on the windshield. And that was their aiming point. And they were incredibly accurate with that grease pencil X on the inside of the windshield. You have to have that helicopter exactly in trim to make that rocket fly where you want it to go. So they had to be skilled pilots. And then, like I say, most of them, as far as I know, just use that grease pencil on the windshield as an aiming point, and they got incredibly accurate. Yeah.
American ingenuity. The magic marker.
Yep.
There you go. Okay. How many had a snake for cover on every mission? Although when we were flying out of Tay Ninh, one of those snake charmers got caught inverted. What does that translate to? A cobra?
Well, the cobras, when they dive, when Cobra dives, they can do some amazing things that we wouldn't try with the Huey. I mean, you could probably do it, but of course, in order to fly a helicopter to the limits, you first have to know what those limits are. And as 19 and 20 and 21-year-old pilots, we found out what the limits were. But the aircraft is not acrobatic. You can get yourself in trouble if you're not careful. But the Cobras with the rotor system they had, and they were pretty amazing.
Yes, I got to tell you.
Excuse me.
Talking about age, when I used to get on board for missions in extractions or whatever, or combat assaults, or I thought all you guys were old, and like the average.
Well, it's because we had mustaches.
Just like the rest of us. Yeah, just like the rest of us.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was probably older than some of them, and I thought you guys were like old, experienced guys, but they weren't. It's like,
you better say yes, sir.
Guys. It was
great.
You'll
be walking. Yeah. But see, us 19, 20, 21-year-old kids were the only ones that would do that stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think I mentioned to you before, it's like giving a kid a new Corvette.
Yep.
The Cobras, gunships were awesome. Absolutely. Yeah.
Richard Patterson, many times an awesome display of power that made it much more comfortable flying into a hot LZ. Yeah. I remember any accident we had, you'd see them, around and around in the distance on a tree line over the village, whatever it was.
Yep.
They were checking out, and the rockets would come out. How many rockets did they have on those? And what were they? What millimeters did you guys have on there?
You could have anywhere from 21 to 48. Anywhere from 21 to 48 rockets.
All right.
And those circles, that was called a daisy chain. We called that a daisy chain.
Right.
That with the Cobra or the Huey gunship, you had the rockets and you had the miniguns that were flex.
Right.
So in other words, as one aircraft makes a dive and brakes to come around, not only is the aircraft behind him covering him, but also the co-pilot with the minigun is trying to keep the enemy's head down. So,
Nice.
you
There
go
you
around
go.
that daisy chain around the LZ, and the two aircraft can cover each other most of the time. Not all the time, but almost all the time. So yeah, that was called a daisy chain.
Yeah, it's like it's all going through again.
Yeah, they're
Trying
constantly
to catch.
one either the rockets or the miniguns or the grenade launcher can be firing at the enemy at just virtually any time if necessary.
Yeah, I'm just trying to
And of course,
catch.
you got the door gunners too on the Huey.
Oh yeah.
Next.
Yeah.
All right, next question. Fred Grebe. More than once, you thank God. Amen to that. Thank God and the helicopter pilot.
Yeah. Well, we were there for you guys on the ground.
You know, it's a. I have many times said this that the helicopter was the most important machine in the whole world I think in the whole world of all time. They say that it's not the most powerful, it's not the fastest, it's not the biggest, but it brought us mail, it brought us food, it brought us water, it brought us ammo, it brought us replacements.
Yeah.
It brought us other things like guns that were broken down and the gun got exploded, blew up somehow, and they replaced the armaments. And then they took out the wounded and took out the guys that were going home and bring us hot chow once a month or something, what that was. Bring us chow anyway. Like, did I say mail? Yeah, they brought us mail. And what else could you ask for? I mean, like, it was like the local delicatessen showing up every day.
I had a grunt tell me one time when I was doing research for one of my books. He says, when we heard those rotor blades, we knew our day was going to get just a little bit better.
Excuse me, Zach, bring me Phil's books off the shelf here. I'm going to put your books up later. We'll get. Yeah, we have a book show coming up too, Phil, pretty soon. What do you got there?
All
right. What's the question? Best we got. Hey, this Bachman, I can't see your name. Facebook user. Give me another one.
Focus on the question.
I just happen to have one here. If you don't have yours,
you got this one.
Hey, you got one too.
There you go.
No, I got volume 1. You got
this
volume 12. How come you've never given me a story, Ronnie?
How do you me?
Yeah, when you give me a story to put in here. Well, you said you were picked up by Dustoff twice.
Yeah, but I'll give you our first combat assault. How about that one?
All right, yeah, that's cool.
And I got pictures of that too. And I got pictures with my.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's even better.
Mine?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't remember the medevac story. I don't remember the medevac story. All I know is remember getting in the chopper, because the first one was not nice, not for me, but our own mortars fell short, and that the story. And,
my best friend in high school was killed by a short round in near
and,
Dong Ha. Hey, I'll give you a spoiler alert. Can I take 30 seconds or so to give you a spoiler alert?
Take it. Go.
All the missions in the books are rescue missions, but every once in a while I'll get some humor or whatever that really needs to be repeated. And in the latest book, there's a story about a dog named Rasmussen, and it was Huey gunships. And Rasmussen, the dog, would hang around the parking area and stuff all the time. And one time he jumped in an aircraft when they were getting ready to take off, so they just took off with him. And they said that he would hang around behind the pilot seats because there wasn't much turbulence there. And then and he kept going on missions with them. And they said sometimes he would even get up on the console and put his 2 feet up on the console so he could look out the windshield. And so the aircraft commander is telling me the story. He says he's on a gun run and he's got his thumb on the button on the cyclic stick, getting ready to punch off a couple of rockets. And Rasmussen, who's up on the console looking out the windshield, reaches up and hits his thumb, firing the two rockets. And the pilot said they had 2 or 3 confirmed kills. He said he didn't push the button. The dog put his paw up on and made him push the button. And so Rasmussen, the dog, according to this pilot, had 2 or 3 confirmed kills.
Good for him.
I believe it. I believe the story. Absolutely.
Hey, why not, man? A lot of strange things happen in war.
So a lot of this stuff like that's in the books too. Yeah. But thanks there, CB. Thanks for the kind words.
He's a good guy. He's a very faithful participant in all our Facebook pages and everything. And who else you got? Next question. Okay.
Oh,
DMV,
I'm out of focus. You mean?
Oh, that's okay.
All right. DMC Doc Jenkins. DMC Doc Jenkins. He and I actually flew together many missions.
Wow! Check that out.
And he's the one that, he's the one that told me when I was wounded. He said that I stopped a bullet before it hurt somebody.
You know, it's he said, I always thought Phil's out of focus. I always saw the back of his helmet.
He's just pulling your leg. No, Doc Jenkins. He was an excellent medic. Excellent, absolutely. Well, all the guys we had were good, but Doc, gosh, I think he was probably an old guy at like 23, maybe. But yeah, like I say, we flew many missions together. Yep. Well, even with American Huey 369, we were flying together here with the museum crowd in our restored Hueys here up until a few years ago. So good to see Doc on here. Hey,
the funny thing about that is Doc. Here comes a medic, 19-year-old medic, 18-year-old medic.
Oh yeah,
and they're calling this guy Doc. And he's saving people left and right.
Yeah. Well, what else you got to call him, right? Yeah.
What are the emotional toll? Those are the guys that probably have the most PTSD problems, I think, because of not saving a guy. They couldn't save everybody, but they worked their ass off to bandage and
But I say
the drill.
The medics, our flight medics. Yeah, our flight medics were the heroes. They you want to thank somebody. Those are the guys. Yeah, they kept you breathing and stopped the bleeding till we got you to an OR.
Yeah, I mean, your platoon medic, but when you're in a firefight, if something's happening, he can only do so much, and he's got to do his job on the ground, is to try to get you alive onto the chopper.
Yeah,
and then the next medic took it over to the guy at the LZ or the fire base or whatever.
And that's why you had a 98% survival rate if you were breathing when we got to you. Yeah.
Yeah, that has to be kind of crazy too. The did you ever get the order to go in and pick somebody up? You think you were going to go back to a certain base and had to go somewhere else for some odd reason?
You mean like get more than one mission at the same time? Is that what you're saying?
No, just like for some reason, maybe the fire base or the LZ was getting mortared or something, you couldn't come in and or the base camp.
No. Nothing like that I can remember. That doesn't mean
no problem. You know what I'm saying, all right?
But
if you got incoming, you're not going to go land you're not going to land, right?
Well, yeah, I got a story that I documented where 2 aircraft went out, 2 of our Dustoffs.
There you go.
And the first guy landed. They knew that they had more casualties than what they could get in one aircraft. So the first one lands, fills up the aircraft out while the mortars are dropping in, and by the time he's loaded and ready to go out, they pretty much got the LZ zeroed in. But the second aircraft has to come in and pick up the rest of the wounded. So he calls the guys on the ground. These were 2 of my best friends in country. Second aircraft calls the RTO on the ground and says, "Move your wounded to the other end of the LZ. Call me when you're ready." So a minute or 2 later, that's what happens. So he goes in and lands at the first LZ waits a couple of seconds so they get the mortars in the air, and then he does a high hover over to the other end of the LZ. They get the wounded loaded on, and he's out of there before they can adjust their mortar tubes.
There you go. I got a question for you. What's a high hover?
Oh, normally your hover is like 3 feet above the ground.
Oh,
High hover, you just pick it up and go to the other end of the LZ. Yeah, you don't take off. Yeah, you don't really take off and come around. You just do maybe 10 or 15 foot hover to get over there in a hurry and land it. So while he's getting his wounded, they're still putting mortars in where he was parked seconds ago. Yeah.
I tell you, I'm going to re-up and become a helicopter pilot. I'm going to re-up and do a helicopter pilot. I'm going to re-up and be a pilot.
Hey, it's great. Yeah. You get to drink beer all the time, pick up women, spend money.
What is it, Zach?
We got a comment coming up.
Oh, you got a comment here. Let's go. What do you got?
Oh, okay.
Through with the 282nd Assault Helicopter Company, Quang Nai to Dang Yang and back a few times. God bless all these pilots and crew chief. There you go.
Remind people to send their comments.
Yep. Oh, don't forget, people out there, any comments or questions that they put them on the show anytime you're ready. There's a place at the bottom of the page. The helicopter war, I have, I should, the first combat assault I went on, I tell you, I took pictures of it. I got a big picture up there of the M60 hanging down like this out the side door. And then the,
You want it?
yeah, why not? Bring it over. There we go. I got a studio assistant.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's great. That's a great shot.
That's in formation.
That's a great shot.
You guys are in formation?
Yep.
You guys are in formation, and we were going out of Kuchi, and that was our first encounter. It was like everybody was like tight-butted, however you want to say that. And
high pucker factor.
There you go. Oh, I forget that. Yeah. That's okay. But man, we're going again.
Pucker factor 10.
Just like the guys again in Hamburger Hill. That's a great introduction to helicopters. And so much different than the other movie with what's his name? Robert Duvall. He's on the beach. Because remember the Flight of the Valkyries was the
okay. Well, let me ask you. Oh yeah, Flight of the Valkyrie. That's great. Yeah. Well, let me ask you a question, Ronnie. Do you know what the 3 most important things are that a helicopter co-pilot, should say to the aircraft commander? Okay. The third most important thing is.
Let me give me a chance.
That was a great landing, sir.
Hold on.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I wasn't thinking about that.
Well, I already told you number 3. Yeah, that was a great landing, sir. That's the third most important.
I was thinking from the guy getting picked up, the troops getting picked up, not the pilots back and forth.
Oh, no.
Okay, no. Okay.
Well, the second most important thing is I'll buy the first round, sir.
And
the first most important thing is that a co-pilot should say to the aircraft commander is, I'll take the ugly one.
Oh man. Oh, come on. Somebody else send a comment in.
Yeah, please. Somebody give us a question.
Oh, you're bad.
Doc Jenkins ought to have a question. He's a character. There he is.
Thank you, Doc.
Yeah.
You got to get that picture, Doc. You got to get that picture blown up. We want to see you up close and personal.
No, that's him. I recognize the picture. That's him. He's in one of my books. That picture's in one of my books.
That's great, Phil.
No, we had some great times. We had some scary times, but we always got the job done. Yeah.
Yeah, Phil was my pilot. That's a good title for a book.
Somebody else was co-pilot. Yeah.
You done with the books? How many you write? 3
What's
so
that?
far? 4? How many books you write so far?
No, I'm finishing up number 18.
They,
Eight,
and I
18
thought it was
books
3 or
with
4.
at least, yeah, each book has at least 20 rescue missions in it. One of them I think's got 25. But
Wow.
yeah, but stuff we did every day.
That was unbelievable. Yeah, but still, it's like to remember.
Yeah.
How did you remember this stuff? I mean, did you write stuff down, or you record stuff when you got home, or
Well,
over there? Or?
no, it's like I just asked you to give me a mission that is memorable to you for some reason.
Right.
And one of them is because you were wounded. That's pretty memorable. The first book I did was just my unit, DMZ Dustoff, and of course, like I say, Doc Jenkins is in there because he was one of our medics, and he told me about a couple of missions that he was involved in that I wasn't flying, and so those missions are in there. So most of the stuff, excuse me, most of the missions in the books are guys like yourself. I'll see a Vietnam veteran on Facebook, might be a pilot or a crew member especially. But I've got several missions from the grunt's perspective. Yeah, there's, like I say, 18 books, at least 20 missions in each one. That's almost 400 missions, rescue missions that I've been able to document. But again, that's stuff we did all the time.
I'm sorry to break this news, but
Yeah,
Doc,
I could ask Doc the same thing.
Doc, yeah, but Doc wants to know your waist size and your weight in 1969.
This
Not
is
now, 1969.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. And now I tell you, I was 155 pounds in Vietnam, and now I'm, of course, a little more than that. I don't have my original Nomex uniform on because it shrunk horribly over the years.
Exactly.
But, I found this on eBay, but this is 1970 Nomex.
All right, let me get. Here you go. I got something.
Yeah, and okay, go ahead.
Okay.
I want to know what Doc's
friendly fire incident. The friendly fire incident that I got my first wound. You guys were dropping in chainsaws. Chainsaws would be dropped in to cut down.
Right, to cut the LZ.
Yeah, it was crazy, and I got pulled up in a this kind of metal litter.
In a hoist.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's called a Stokes litter.
Yeah, I already had a little cut on my head, but I couldn't hear because of the concussion of the mortars that fell short. But it was a bad day.
You remember I told you. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. Take it.
I say, if you remember, I told you before on that hoist that we had a thumb on a red button on the cyclake that if we had to cut the hoist to save the aircraft, we had that ability. If you got hung up in the trees or something and I couldn't control the aircraft or whatever, we had the ability to cut the cable on that hoist if we have to. But of course, it was absolutely the very last thing we would do. But
let me ask you a question. Did you ever do it?
Go.
Did you ever?
No.
Did you ever do it?
No.
Okay.
No, I never had to cut the cable. Absolutely not.
This is crazy.
And I think most crews would crash before they would cut the cable. Yeah. Hey, DKI, you're very welcome. Yeah. Very welcome.
Okay. Yeah, there's not a question. It's just a statement, Zach. Thanks.
Okay, it's the same thing.
Phil Lance.
Thank you.
This is on the show. Slow on the ball today. Thank you for your service, Ronnie and Phil. Much appreciated. Thank you, DKI. Who's DKI? Phil, okay, Patrick Balser.
No.
That is a great song. Along with He Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother. And God bless all of our medical personnel over there. They did such a great job under such terrible and terrific conditions. Thank you, Patrick. Patrick's a regular on our Vietnam Veterans Facebook page. Welcome home, brother.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir, for all you do for the guys on the ground. You saved so many lives. Best regards from old CB. That's Mr. Bachman. Okay.
Yeah.
The CB gave it up.
Yeah.
Were you an I-Corps?
Well, as I said, yeah. As I said before, we were there for you guys on the ground, but yeah, I was in Northern I Corps. Like I say, everything from way up to the DMZ, and
Which was not far.
Might have gone into
That
the
wasn't-
DMZ
what was
once
that?
or twice.
What was that, 20, 30 miles at the most? From way to the DMZ?
Uh,
And how about you?
I was at Camp Evans in Quang Tri. You mean the width of it? It's only a couple of clicks
No.
wide.
North-south.
Demilitarized zone.
North-south.
Were you in Nicole?
Yeah. Yeah, it's only a couple of clicks wide from north to south. Yeah, it's
Yes, I was in I-Corps as well. We flew up. We were in 3 Corps. We came into Benoit, trucked over to Kuchi, stayed there a month, did some training, and then flew up to Fubai, and then then trucked into LZ Jane, and spent the rest of our time overlooking the DMZ at times on night, on watch. That was crazy. And the Cambodia border and the South China Sea were not too far away. So yes, I was. Whoever asked that question, thank you very much. Patrick, prayers for my grandson, Sergeant First Class Blake Ball, sir. He's stationed in Texas along the border in reserves and just got the first hip replacement surgery in his rehab. And he's in a long recovery, and then he will have a second hip done. Wow. And that will be a long recovery too. And he's all by himself because of military protocol at the hospital on medical personnel patients. So keep him in your prayers. Amen. Thank you, Patrick and Sergeant First Class Blake. We got you. Okay. Hey, Mr. Phil from upstate New York.
Sunshine. Yeah, she's a huge supporter of Vietnam veterans. Yeah.
Good. Check this out, man. You've been stuff from all over the country.
Well, she attends the Kokomo reunion in Indiana. You need to get to the Kokomo reunion, Ronnie.
When is that?
Enjoy it.
When
we
is
get
that?
you September, I believe. September.
Good, yeah,
I'll
you're
get
right.
you the information.
Yeah.
But
please do.
Yeah.
I got to go to a few
reunions. Our gathering. Yeah. We've got our gathering at the museum in the second weekend of August near Peru, Indiana, just north of Kokomo. And then in September is what I understood at one time, probably still is, the largest Vietnam veterans reunion. It's a huge campground. It used to be an airstrip and a little airport, and hundreds of campers, thousands of veterans. It's about a 4-day affair. They have entertainment. They got a stage with live entertainment every night. The Kokomo reunion, and then the gathering in August where you can get a flight in the Huey again. A Vietnam Huey, all the Hueys that we restore back to flight flew in Vietnam. We've got our gunship. It's a B model, which is an early model of Huey that has a shorter fuselage. We've got the miniguns and rockets on it. And as far as we know, it's the only flying B model Huey with that gun configuration on it in the world. And it flew in, in the Battle of the Ia Drang. We have 2 aircraft restored back to flight that flew in the Battle of the Ia Drang. And we're pretty proud of them. When we did the museum tour. Yeah. So anyway, that's August or September or both. You need to show up. In fact, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Sunshine is from Northern New York, so maybe you two could drive out.
Yeah, do me a favor. Send me the date so I could get a hotel room. Somehow send me a message or a text.
Kokomo. Kokomo's a nice town. They got plenty of hotels.
Okay. This year's reunion is in Greentown. Where's Greentown?
That's Kokomo.
Oh, okay. 40th year, September 12th to the 18th of September.
Yeah, Greentown's little crossroads. Yeah, Greentown's little crossroads. Next.
Thank you, Sunshine Patterson Peterson. Love it.
Yeah.
First time he flew with Phil, the AC told him, don't touch anything. What's that AC? Aircraft commander?
Hey, aircraft commander. Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, with friends
Well,
like him.
never knew that about the tape
Yeah.
cable. There you go.
Yeah. If, like I say, you got a choice. You got some poor SOB on the end of the hoist, or you got an aircraft and 4 souls on the helicopter. Yeah, but it was pretty rare that you had to use it. But I know there was a time or two that it had to be done. But that's a tough decision to make.
All right, we got
Yeah,
Mr. DMD Doc over here. Mentioned flying under the hood.
Yeah, that was where we would practice our instrument flying. When you're out at night in bad weather, you have to use those instruments on the panel in front of you to fly the aircraft and try not to crash. There were times that we went out in bad weather at night, and unfortunately, a lot of guys paid the price for it. About half of the Huey losses, or any helicopter loss in Vietnam, was usually at night or bad weather. We lost as many aircraft by accident as we did by enemy fire.
Wow,
it was
that's
just
crazy.
because of the
That's
nature of the
crazy.
missions that we flew.
That's
Well,
crazy.
again, you got a guy out there bleeding to death. And you're going to do your best to get to him. That's your
Oh
job.
no, I don't mean that. I mean a statistic. Yeah, I mean a statistic.
Oh yeah,
the
yeah.
numbers. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. I never.
We have a Vietnam helicopter. We have a Vietnam Helicopter Pilots Association, and we got a couple of guys that keep the database, which just absolutely amazing. And that's what the numbers bear out, that almost half the helicopter losses were not due to enemy fire.
Okay, we got a question statement here. I'm from Canada. My German neighbor flew in Vietnam in the 60s under the radar on loan from Canada. I worked in Minnesota and met a very good friend, Dan, who was a U.S. Marine in Vietnam. Okay, so what is under the radar again?
Well, I can tell you what he's talking about there. We have a Canadian pilot in our American Huey 369 organization. He flew Loaches in Vietnam. Glenn Vino is his name, and he was a Canadian. We used to tease him. We still do. We said that for every 10 guys that ran off to Canada, one Canadian came to the U.S. to fly helicopters, and so he's our token Canadian helicopter pilot. But yeah, I was a little disappointed when our president at the time said all the guys that ran to Canada to come back.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Just my opinion. My opinion.
I'll reserve my comments and feelings for something off camera.
I didn't say that. Just forget I said anything.
Yeah. No
Just
problem.
forget I said anything.
What do you say, Zach?
Last one.
All right, one more question. What statement? Two more. Hi, Phil. Our gathering is August 13th, 14th in Greentown, Kokomo. September 16th, 17th, 18th. The American Huey 369 will be there. And so will Ronnie.
Thanks, Danny.
Get ready.
Yeah, Danny's a good friend of mine from the 369 organization. Yeah, we get to fly together. He flew helicopters for a career. His last gig was out of Fort Wayne flying one of the hospital helicopters.
Okay,
but,
Phil.
Yeah, Danny. Yeah, go
What's
ahead.
the difference, Phil? What's the difference of the August and the September dates?
It's two different events.
I know
the
that.
Gathering is American Huey 369.
Okay.
Yeah, that's our museum location. And then Kokomo is a completely separate organization, but they're only about maybe 20 miles away, 25 miles away. And it's one of the largest Vietnam gatherings in the country. So we'll be at both events. Both events will be giving membership flights. You become a member of the organization for $100 and you get another flight on a Huey. Excuse me. If you donate a minimum of $1,000 to the museum, then you'll usually get a front seat flight in a Huey. We have a lot of pilots that will donate a minimum of $1,000 to the museum fund, and they'll get one more time, they'll get a flight in the front seat.
That's great. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, Facebook user, great show. Thank you, Ronnie, and your son for doing this. Welcome home, my fellow veterans. Got to hit the sack. God bless all of our veterans. Great. Well,
Yep.
thank you,
Yep.
Phil.
Yeah, you
We'll
guys
wrap it up,
do a
yep.
great service. You do a
No
great service.
problem. No, yeah, well, service from service. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You got to keep the service going.
Yep.
Thank you, brother. God bless you.
Yep.
Talk to you soon. All right, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that show. A lot of information about helicopters in the Vietnam War, which is 50-something years ago already. Here's a little helicopter in the back over there. Let me get my fingers right. Bingo. There's the good one right there. All right. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week. God bless you and welcome home.